Hello, we're just going to make this little video is going to be about finding a probability in a normal distribution. We're going to go through this question here. The set of average temperatures in July are normally distributed with a mean of 23.5 degrees Celsius and a standard deviation of 2 degrees Celsius. Based on that temperature, I'm assuming this is in the northern hemisphere because our temperatures aren't that high in July. The average temperature of Rabat, which I don't know where that is 23 degrees Celsius. We're going to find, which must be different from the city that we're looking at because there's 23.5 degrees compared to 23 degrees. What proportion of average city temperatures are higher than that of Rabat, or however you say it? You may round your answer to 4 decimal places. Okay, so that's the question. First thing we do is we'll try and draw a diagram. I've got this diagram. I found something that can draw it for me on the internet. So it's showing that the temperature of Rabat is 23 degrees. I normally like to put the mean in there. The mean is this one here, which is 23.5 degrees from this problem. And they wanted to know the temperatures that are higher than, so I've shaded in everything that was higher than 23 degrees. Our next step is we're going to try and break down this diagram. I'm going to just do it. You'll just do this with a bit of maths, but I'm just going to show you visually what it means. We've got this diagram can be broken down to this bit here, which is between 23 and 23.5 degrees Celsius. And they've got this bit here, which is 23.5 and higher, which is that bit there. Now, this is supposed to be probabilities, so the area under the whole graph is 1. If the area under the whole graph is 1, that means this part, which is half the graph, is 0.5. Well, normal distribution assumes that it's symmetrical, so this side is going to be equal to that side, which is 0.5, which is a half of 1. So we just got to figure out what this side is. This side, we have a few ways to do it, but in this problem, we're going to use a table. You'll get given one of these normal distribution tables in your exams, or whenever you have an exam, or else you won't be able to answer the questions. And you can see that this distribution table, normal distribution, will look up between, let's say, 0 and a z value. This is sort of like the normalized, so it's from the mean to whatever value we're going to look for. This formula here is going to be your friend if you're going to be using a lot of these do a lot of these questions, and we're going to use it right now. Z equals x. X is the value that you're taking. Actually, I'm just going to start with the question. So we've got the formula here. This is the question we're doing. X is the value that we're looking for, like part of the question. This is 23 in this case. Minus the mean, the mu is the mean, which is 23.5, divided by the standard deviation, which in this case is 2. So we'll put in our numbers, and that's what it looks like. Our next step, we're going to calculate it. So 23 minus 23.5 is 0.5, negative 0.5, and negative 0.5 divided by 2 is negative 2.5. That negative means that you are on the left side of the mean. Because this is symmetrical, you can just ignore it for these types of problems, and we're just going to be looking up 2.5 because that's going to be the same as negative 2.5. Alright, let's look up the table. So we've got the table there. We look up the 0.2 from this part. Then we look along the top and the 0.5, 0.05, so 0.25 is there. And so we go down and we find that value there for our z value. If we had the value 0.255, we would have to add 0.0019, so you'd have to add 19 to the end there. Okay, this question, we're going to need this number here. So this is saying that the area on our graph is 0.0987, goes backwards. So write that down and we'll remember it for later. So it's so go to our question. Going back to the question, I'm going to write down that the probability that x is greater than 23. You might just want to write that in as a sentence. This is saying that the temperature is greater than 23 degrees is equal to, I'll put an extra point there just for kicks and giggles, does not a date, just so it shouldn't have that there. That area there, or that probability there, is 0.0987, so that point there is not supposed to be there. I'll cover it up with the mouse. And then I've got to add the other side, 0.05, so that's that side there. And when I add those together, I get 0.5987. And you're done. That's it. That's a normal distribution question using the tables. Now, there are a few other questions you might get if I had to find the probability of something that was shaded on this side. Well, let's have a look. Here's a few other scenarios you might see. This one here, you've got the lower half, which means you've just got, is it working? Nope. 0.5. Take away the probability you look up, because you'll be looking up that probability there, and then this whole this part of the probability is only as half of everything, so it's 0.5. So that whole thing, take away that, will be what's left. You might see this case here, which you've got one probability you have to work out here, and you'd have to look it up on the table. Then you have to calculate this one here. It's on the other side. This one would have this side here would be a negative value for your z value, and the other one's a positive, and you have to add those together. Both of these at the bottom will be the same. You just get the probability that you look up. This is at level 2. You would get, these would generally be your first question that you get. Just look at the probability. At level 3, you'd be looking more at one of these ones for your first question. Maybe even part of your first question. And then this one here might be a bit trickier. This one here, you're actually going to be finding the probability for each of these. The first probability would be of this whole thing, and you would be taking away that probability. That'll get you this answer. If you're not sure which way around the takeaways go, it'll make sense when you find the answer, because one will be positive and the other will be negative. If you've got any questions, you'll have to look it up in your book, because this is a video. Alright, have fun.